Yo, 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 what's up, all you burners, stoners, and potheads, and especially all you gardeners out there? This is Mr. Weedman and Big Earl with the Grow Hour. Big Earl, my brother, how you doing?
I am doing great, man. I'm doing very good. How are you doing?
It's great, man. It's Sunday afternoon here in Chicago, and we're recording on a Sunday with a good friend of ours who's been on the show before, Trichome Jungle. How you doing, Trichome?
Hey guys, nice to be here again. Looking forward to the show.
Super stoked to have you back on our Burpin the Bag episode. And as everybody knows, this Burpin the Bag episode is the episode where we have you back on again to be able to talk and free flow what you want to talk about and some new stuff you got going on, some new genetics, some new breeds, some new fun, some new smokes to smoke. And we are excited to have you on, brother. So before we get started with the show, let's all get baked and have some fun and talk about what we're smoking. I'm going to go first. I'm actually smoking something that Mrs. Weedman grew. My wife, Mrs. Weedman, grew her first time outdoor, some autos that were bred by the man over here, Big Earl. And this is Ursula Berry BX, which is a cross between Hummingbird Hills Ursula Berry and Big Earl's Pooh's Peaches, right?
Hummingbird Hills Pooh's Peaches. That's a Hummingbird Hills times Hummingbird Hills.
Oh, like Hummingbird Hills times Hummingbird Hills equals Ursula Berry PX. So thank you, Hummingbird, for throwing this together with Big Earl. We appreciate it. And I tell you what, this was an auto flower. It didn't grow very big. It was about 2 feet high, but the colas were fucking monsters. They covered your whole face. That's how big these colas were. And we got a good yield out of this. It was a lot of fun. Growing outdoor. So I'm going to smoke this while Big Earl and Trichome talk about what they're smoking. Thanks, Big Earl. Appreciate you.
Yeah. I'm smoking Peach Stank. Just got down. First tested of it. I've been testing it all week, but like first testers of it, super, super good. But how about you, Trichome? Smoking anything good?
Yeah, I'm smoking some Skywalker sun-grown from one of my friends. So, yeah, I'm just smoking that at the moment. Really nice, strong high to it, and a proper like old school OG Kush turp going on. Really gassy.
Nice. Hell yeah. Love it. So how's things been since we last chatted a couple months ago? And thanks for coming on the show last time. But how things been? What's been going on?
Yeah, things good. Keeping busy with the gym, working on a few new art projects, and then also a few new seed projects. So really keeping myself busy. I've just made some new regular lines using my cherry spice mail. I've crossed that with the Skittles and also with my Sour Neo and Tizer and Kez, which are 2 strains from Spitfire Genetics.
Man, so got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Love it. And how's Spain treating you? How things going out there in Spain right now? How's the weather? How's things going? Are you having some fun? What else?
Yeah, Spain's getting hot at the moment, so we've been getting some like super hot temperatures, but no fires this year. Normally we get a few fires and things like that, but it's been good so far. And then I've popped a few things outdoors, got my cherry outside, a couple of things from another breeder, a couple of my own seeds. So yeah, just a couple of plants this year outside. I didn't really put too much stuff outside. But a few friends have got some nice things on the go. A few of my soulmate crosses, like the pineapple soul, cherry soul, rose soul,
orange soul.
Yeah, fan favorite right here of that orange soul. So Big Earl, ask him about that orange soul.
No, yeah, I've been working with that. It's on the F2 now. I didn't put them out, but I do have like 100 seeds to the side for you. I can tell you that I haven't worked with a plant that it was so easy to keep flavor of. Like all the offspring of that, that's one. It's real nice. It's real easy. I'm doing that auto conversion with it, and it's in the F2s of that now, and everything's super orange. So it's been super nice.
Yeah.
But,
and is it keeping that orange terp? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like hard not to get it. It's so dominant. But so is like the structure is really dominant. Everything's real thick and very not like haze like, which I really like, but just like bigger, thicker flowers. But when you say cherry, you mean your cherry spice, right? Or is there another cherry?
No, cherry spice. When I say cherry, because it's the male, I just call it the cherry male
Yeah, got you,
because
got
that's
you.
an
Yeah,
actual male. Sometimes I'll reverse a female plant to make the feminized seeds, but that's just a straight normal male.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that cherry spice is fire. I ran that years ago, and that plant's probably still around here because I know a few people had it. And it was the one I had. It was the first time I tasted something that had like a spice, an actual spice in it. It wasn't. I didn't get a lot of like a cherry terp. It was super delicious. I'm not saying that. I just think whatever is bringing like that pepper to it. People fucking loved it. It was way different. And
Yeah,
really
you've
fun.
got this like spice to it that comes
Yeah,
from like the cherry pie and the Girl Scout cookie side of things. That mix brought in this like spiced thing, but you do get the cherry terps coming out in some phenos. There's a couple of nice clones that go around the UK. One was selected by a guy called Mr. T and goes around like a very small circle. And then another guy called Handcraft, he selected another nice one that was going around. But yeah, definitely up there with my favourite strains of all time. That's why I'm using the male now to add into a few things, and I'm looking forward to the Tizer with the cherry to see how that comes out. But I'm really looking forward to the results of this Skittles with the cherry. Um, just because Skittles is definitely one of my favourite lines when it comes to like flavour. So it'd be nice to see how it mixes with the cherry spice.
yeah.
Is this your first time crossing those two, the cherry spice and the Skittles?
Yeah, I've used the Skittles before to make the Zol, which was the soulmate with the Skittles, and also I made the Opal Fruits, which was the lilt with the Skittles. And what I find with the Skittles, anytime you pollinate the Skittles, the seeds are very, very light, much lighter than any seeds that I've made before.
Yeah.
And it's happened every time. It doesn't matter what the pollen donor is. The Skittles itself just makes very light seeds. Um, Even the ones with a nice sort of tiger stripe going on are still very light, but you get many white seeds when you make the cross. So um, for me, those seeds I can't really sell them. They're not like sort of viable seeds. So you don't get much seeds out of a plant compared to some of my other plants. It might be
Yeah.
like 25% of what I'd get out of some of my other plants.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you really can't
Can
get
you
rid of
still?
them. People be pissed. Like even though they're
Can you do?
viable
You,
seeds.
they are. That's what my question was going to ask. So those white seeds, can you still plant them? They still.
Yeah, what I found,
Oh,
the white ones, I've germinated them, and they do germinate. Some of them take a while to germinate, much longer than normal. So, like some people would give up on the seeds, and I give up on the seeds the first time. What I did, I just decided to put them in a pot and keep watering them. I put a little clone in the pot, and the seeds came up like 3 weeks later.
Wow.
So they germinate, but sometimes the time they can take is a really long time. Um, this is what I find with the super white Skittle seeds.
You still get yield from it though. They still grow like a regular plant. Just takes
Oh,
a little bit
once
longer.
they germinate, then you get a normal plant from them.
Okay, cool. How's
Yeah.
how's the when the bud is there and you harvest it? Is it still good flavor, good smoke, taste, everything you're looking for? Just because it's a white seed, and the only reason why I'm asking is because if 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 they're still viable and you still get yield and you still get good flavor and you still get good smell and good effects, why wouldn't people buy them or sell them at a different cost for people that
Yeah,
maybe?
what I find, I end up just keeping them for myself and maybe giving them to a few friends and stuff. But like, um, when I'm even cleaning my seeds, I'll throw away any of the light white seeds because normally when they're light, that's it. They're not. But even some of them, when I throw into, I've got a little pile of soil outside that I chuck them into. and sometimes you'll see a few germinate even from those ones. So and I'll leave those plants to grow out, and they always come out fire. So
Sweet.
Yeah,
that's good to know, because the reason why I asked, because the plant that I just grew out, the two plants I just grew outside, I also had a male outside, and I pollinated. And I was telling Big Earl before the show started, I got some seeds, and I noticed there were some white seeds. It was we didn't do a lot. We just one bud. The bud that I'm smoking with, I decarbed because I wanted to smoke it for the show, and I decarbed it nice. But there was like 6 seeds in there, and 2 of them were dark, and the rest were white. So that was my question: can I still use those white seeds, or can I give them away to friends and people who want them?
yeah.
Would it be okay?
What I find as well, like if the pollination isn't quite right as well, you'll get a lot of white seeds, or if you pull the plant a little bit too early, you'll get the white seeds. But as long as the seeds germinate, yeah, I've always seen good plants come from them.
Cool. That's good to know. I have another question, but I'll wait a little bit later. So, but this one though, I saw you doing a giveaway in IG. What was that all about?
Yeah, that was when I'd just done the new cherry spice drop, so I did a little giveaway. I often do little giveaways on my page. It'll be like maybe like one of them was guess how many seeds in the container, or yeah, literally just tag people and that, and I'll pick people at random. So yeah, just done a couple of giveaways like that.
That's cool. Everybody out there, remember, Trichome Jungle does giveaways. Some fun stuff.
Yes. While we're on the IG train, this is a little off topic too, but I saw you flicking what it almost looked like a female flower, but you could definitely tell that was feminized, right? Like it was much thicker, and because I've never actually done it myself, but that was a feminized female plant.
Yeah. So well, I've been reversing a few plants. So I was working on reversing the Jungle Kush to make a feminized Jungle Kush line and a few Jungle Kush crosses and bring back some old lines. But the pollen from the Jungle Kush just was not fertile at all. I find this with certain OG Kushes. A lot of people have problems reversing the TK OG. So yeah, they can be a bit temperamental like that. But the picture you saw was the Bubba Kush, what people call the pre-98. And that was the female that I'd reversed to male. Again, I was going to make maybe put some Bubba Kush crosses. I've done the Bubba Kush with the cherry, so I was thinking maybe remaking this, and maybe some Bubba Kush S1s and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was cool. It was so thick. If anybody's ever seen a regular male, it's like almost like grapes growing out of the stems where a flower would grow. And they can get bigger and fluffier, but the one that was on yours that was a female reversed was almost like the male was growing out of the flower. Like it was so much thicker and so much. It was cool. It was fun to see you. I don't think I'd ever seen something like.
Yeah, this is another thing. Like you'll see some plants like reverse really well and look really like really thick, like you described then. But sometimes, if you look at the balls, they're so thick that they really don't want to open or drop pollen. So this is another issue. Some plants that just will not produce much pollen. So reversing plants, yeah, it all depends on the plant. I've got a couple of plants that work really well for me when reversing and produce a good amount of pollen. But the OG Kushes can be a bit temperamental, definitely. Yeah. And I use STS when I'm making the reversal.
We're gonna have to do a show on reversal because I'm dumbfounded as being a newbie grower. So yeah, we'll have to talk about it. It's probably like a whole episode we could probably do, right, Earl, on reversing.
Probably.
Yeah, like a quick brush over. Basically, you're using a female plant and you're getting it to turn male. And by using the pollen from that female plant, it doesn't carry over the male chromosome. So by that way, then the pollen adding to another female makes the female seeds and no male seeds. I have seen like pop in really large numbers. You might find one male. So you can be like 99%, do you know what I mean, or 99.9% female seeds.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
That's one thing a lot of people don't realize. I think you hit on was feminized for sure have an advantage, but when you're running a larger hunt, sometimes you can really get caught because you're expecting all these to be female, but you got 300 or 400 plants, and like you said, 99.9%, that one gets in there, and it's just like too late by the time you notice it, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's very rare to
Yeah.
have that male. But like even hermaphrodites, I think to keep an eye open anytime you're popping seeds, whether they're regular or feminized, I think it's a good idea. Especially like that time as you're going into flower, those like from week 2, week 3, around that time, checking the stems where you see those little flower clusters. Always keep an eye out. And then again, like through that flowering phase, just keep an observant eye.
The worst ones get
Sweet.
you week 2 and 3. Those are the ones that are like, you're just like, oh no, you gotta either watch your room grow for another 5 or 6 weeks knowing you got seeds, or you know what I mean? Like that's the worst one.
Tell us about that new cherry line. And I also heard you mention a bunch of other stuff with the word soul at the end of it too. So if you want to talk, like you said, peach soul. There was a bunch too.
Yeah, so the soulmate lines was a strain called Soulmate from Bodie, Plant More Seeds Bodie.
Okay.
And I've always like got big respect for him. And ever since like back in the day from Breed Bay and stuff like that, always enjoyed his posts. So he'd sent me a few things over the years, and I popped them outdoors. Probably that was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Found 2 distinct phenos, and it was very distinct. And even his like descriptions, how he describes them, were exactly like the phenos. You have one which is more like a slight lemon pine soul thing going on, which comes from the OG side, and then you have this other thing. He describes it like a lavender. I think it's like a sweet lavender, but it has this like Vicks vapor rub thing going on as well. Yeah. So that was the one I went for. I selected a female. I selected a male that looked like the female, and when I used the male on things, it carried that terp over in some of the crosses, the terp that I was looking for. So that I used as a reversal to make a feminized line, and also the normal male to make the regular line. The regular line was made first, and that was part of like I called it sacred selection, and then I made a feminized version of like 6 of those lines, and then made a couple more afterwards, but all using the soulmate from Bodie, and that's a cross of Pine Sol and Wookiees, but not the Wookiees which some people know, which is like the white and the cookies. His Wookiees was before that, and he used an Appalachia and a line to make that.
Sweet. Sounds very fun.
Yeah. And the cherry is what I've been using the regular male to make the cherry spice. I made like a V2 cherry spice line, and I've just made the Skittles cross. So the Skittles one is the rainbow cherry, and then I've got the Tizer with it as well, and the Kez, which are 2 lines I'm really impressed with from Spitfire Genetics, who's another UK breeder, and he crossed let me get this right, the Peach Oz with the Z Cube to create the Peach Cube. And this Peach Cube male is what he put onto a few things, all regular lines again. One of them is something called Soursop, which is a sour diesel cross, which makes up the Kez with the peach cubes, and the Skittles with the peach cubes is what makes the Tizer. The Tizer is getting a bit of popularity in the UK. There's a couple of nice clones floating around. Everybody that seems to be popping the seeds are finding really nice keepers inside. I've found some really special plants. So yeah, that's why I had to make him part of the line and yeah, do a little future collab with him.
Are you before we go on to Earl's question real quick? The UK you've mentioned a lot so far, and even on the first show we did together, you didn't mention a lot. You did a little bit, but this time, are you seeing the breeding in the UK grow? I mean, like I said, we have a lot of listeners and a lot of followers from the UK, and have learned a lot by listening and watching what they do. But you're mentioning some stuff that the UK is doing that I've never heard of, and it's pretty fantastic. If and the way it's going there, I mean, the legalization's not happening anytime soon, but it sounds like there's some phenomenal breeders and pollen checkers out there going on.
Yeah, people have been doing their thing in the UK for quite a long time, but it's, it has to be kept underground. People don't sort of um, aren't out in the open so much, just because of how it is. There's no legalization at all going to be happening in the UK anytime soon. So, and I even seen a story recently where some guy from Instagram, this one of these guys was showing his face quite a bit and being very open with what he did, and he's just got 8 years in prison.
Oh,
so
for a plant.
Yeah, and they're saying that they can trace his thing back to like over the last 10 years he's been doing this, and yeah, it's pretty fucked up how it works in the UK.
Yeah, and just as you just said, showing your face and not being underground and keeping it. I mean, someone could repost your shit, and all of a sudden they get wind of it, and you're gonna get popped eventually. And you said 10 years they've been following this person, so and now he's down for 8 years, which sucks.
Yeah, well, I think they I don't know if they've been following that amount of time, but they could definitely like traced things back to that amount of time, and it's just fucked up how it works in the UK. And probably in a lot of other places when there's people out there really doing harm to people, sex offenders, stuff like this, and they get nowhere near these times. So it's a bit of a joke, really.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that one. I mean, go ahead, Big Earl, though. We could probably talk about that for another hour or two. Yeah. So, go ahead.
Well, we can get back. So your cherry line, with every cross, are you looking for a different part of the cherry coming out, or what are you trying to bring with that more than anything? You think like the spice or more the cherry side, or?
Well, no, with the cherry ones, I'm hoping that a lot of the female side that I'm putting, so the male, more of a pollen donor, hopefully, but we'll see in the testing. The Sour Neo gave me some like unexpected results, where I'm getting like some terps coming out like neither of the parents. So it's quite varied with the Sour Neo. So we'll see how the Skittles one and the Tizer come out. I'm hoping that the Tizer and Skittles come through more, but have a little bit of the cherry in there. I love like the structure of the cherry. It adds a lot of colour to the crosses as well, where you get a lot of like pinks and purples coming out in the leaves. So yeah, looking forward to see the outcome. I've got some friends growing the seeds out. We're not on Instagram, but I've also got like 4 guys who are on Instagram growing them out. So people will get to see the results soon enough. Yeah.
So they're all in testing now?
Say that again?
Oh, sorry. They're all in testing now?
Yeah, that's nice. All in testing now. The Sour Neo crossed with the cherry, that's finished testing. The cherry spice, that was already released and already tested. It was just like a remake. And then the Skittles are in testing now, and the Tizer ones are being made. So yeah.
Is there a day you're thinking it'll be ready?
Yeah, hopefully the Skittles. So we're talking like a couple of months now. So yeah, hopefully by ready for Christmas time.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's a good present for anybody.
Yeah, dude. How's your packaging with it? Are you doing anything Like I was it those last black packs were super dope. With you had a new logo that was like the blue. I think it was more bluish, like greenish. Uh,
Yeah, that's like some artwork. I always get Mr. Kobo to do the artwork for me. So he's working on something for me now for the Skittles with the cherry,
nice.
and yeah, um, probably gonna get some new logos done as well.
Yeah.
But the Skittles with the cherry is what we're working on now. Packaging wise, I'm not too sure yet what that one will be released in, but it'll be a super like limited drop.
Nice.
That's right.
I just want to go back to something real quick. You were talking about using STS and femming. What is there something with that you weren't expecting? Because like I haven't done it yet, but I made the STS solution. I just don't have that already. That like project, is I'm waiting on. Was there something going on there that you weren't expecting, or like a learning curve there, or any kind of advice for that?
Um, yeah, like with the feminizing, I think it's picking the right plant, and it's all testing again. Um, making sure that the mixture you're doing is like almost tried and tested. Um, so like I've just reversed that jungle, and I wasn't too sure if it was something to do with the spray. But the spray, my recipe's the same one I use each time. So I decided then to spray up 3 plants and 2 plants that I know reverse really well. Um, Sprayed all 3, and still the jungle kush just didn't want to produce fertile pollen. So I'm always learning. This plant's always teaching us, and I think it's through like trial and error that we learn. And I think sometimes you just got to go through it to find out.
Yeah, nice.
When you're trial and erroring, I mean, what are you learning? Like, are you taking like notes on what this plant has done, what this plant, the errors that you made? Is it you? Is the plant? Is it the weather? Is it the soil? This is for like some of the new people that want to start breeding and pollen chucking and stuff like that. So when you're doing that trial and error, how are you keeping track of how many plants you might have lost, how many plants won for you, how many plants look
No, I
great?
think this is why it's good to always use plants that you've worked with for years as well. So like a lot of the plants in my library have been in my library for like years. And over those years, that's how you learn and get to know these plants. So when something does go wrong, yeah, you know why it's gone wrong, or you know that that's not the normal thing that plant does. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the one plant that kind of got away from you that you were like, oh fuck, that
Should
one
reverse
before
that.
Earl asked the next one? Yeah, I should have reversed it. Reverse.
Yeah, I think the Jungle Kush, that was a bit of a disappointment, especially when you spend so much time as well. So you're spending the whole time of the crop basically. So this is another thing when reversing a female plant. It takes much longer for the plant to reverse than a normal male would change into a normal male. So this is all timing as well. You've got to get the timing perfect.
Yeah.
And then storage of feminized pollen, it doesn't store as well as normal pollen. So these are all little things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
How do you store your pollen?
dry it and freeze it. That's the best way I've found with regular pollen from normal males. And it stores very well like that.
How do you dry it? Do you dry it like open air? Because I tried pollen one time and I fucked it up. I got mold and I had to throw it away because I didn't know how to dry it.
Yeah, it's like you just make sure you got it in a room. If your room's too humid, then put a dehumidifier in there.
Okay.
You want a nice dry space. Leave it out on something that will absorb some moisture as well, some sort of paper type thing. And then once it's dry, transfer it to something which is you can wrap it up in and then seal in a plastic bag and then put into something else to seal again, because you don't want any moisture getting into that pollen once it's in the freezer. You don't want to put it in the freezer and moisture build up in your bag that you've got it in. So like double sealing is always a good way.
That's what I didn't do, and that's why I got mold.
I like to use a trim
And
tray.
again, the flowers. You've got the flowers. Once it's dry, remove all those flowers. So you've only got the pollen, yeah?
Gotcha.
I like to use it on a trim tray. That like separates keef. It has like a keef catcher in it or whatever. And then I can kind of beat the flower on a little bit, and then it just brings the keef to the bottom. But I don't store it.
That's it. Perfect. Yeah.
And just because it doesn't, you need like a gram to get you a billion plants.
That's interesting though, how the storage factor in that, because I was trying to actually save it for Big Earl. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and I just sprinkled a bunch, got a bunch, put it on put it in a mason jar, and put it and left it in the fridge for a day. Stupid ass, because there's a lot of humidity in the refrigerator. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, this don't look right. Let me throw it in the freezer, and yeah, it totally failed. So, but that could you use like a vacuum sealed bag then, and then do it again, and then wrap it and put in the. Would that work?
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Cool. So all you out there that have been wondering how to save pollen, there's a way to try and test it out. I think that's all. That's a learning. Thank you, Trichome. I appreciate that.
How long? How long you think you can say? How long have you had it viable for?
Easy, 6 months a year.
Oh,
nice.
Damn.
Very cool.
Big Earl's gonna be going to get a fucking.
And that's talking regular pollen.
Yeah.
Feminized pollen works very different.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like you were saying, 1 gram of pollinate, whatever. Yeah, regular pollen, but feminized pollen can be a bit different. Depending on the plant again. Some plants are much more just fertile like a normal male, and other ones, no.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Earl, how many freeze dryer bags are you gonna go get? Vacuum sealed bags you're gonna buy now and try this out?
Yeah. I got some waiting already, buddy. Already some down there.
You just got Big Earl excited. I love it. Thank you,
I
Trichome.
appreciate that. Once, so being able to save some of the pollen, and do a couple things down the road would be cool.
Yeah, that's dope. Thank you. Appreciate that. Earl, you got something else for him too, don't you?
What from a breeder's viewpoint, do you see negatives in the feminizing? Do you think we're past like the stereotype of like, oh, fems are going to harm more than regs and all that, or you think that? How do you feel about that?
No, I think it all depends on the plants that you're using. You can get plants that harm from regular seeds just as much. But I think the future is definitely going towards more feminized. Just through the customers, that's what they want. A lot of people grow feminized, and I think a lot of people choosing 2 females is much easier to do than trying to select a male. The male has to be tested over time with multiple crosses to see what it actually adds. So it's much easier to create a feminized line much quicker. But again, reversing the plants is not as easier than a normal male. Yeah.
Well, somebody that's a small home grower like myself that has a small, and I've gone through the reg phase where you got to plant 5 to get 2. You could get 5 out of 5, and then you get a 2x4 by 510. You're like, whoa, where am I putting all this? But I do have to say, thank you to all the breeders that are moving to some feminized. Are you moving here on out to do all feminized for sale? Or are you going to still add some regs to it? Are you going to do some auto fems? Like, what is the whole Trichome Jungle future when it comes to that?
Yeah, I'll still always do my regular lines, but it'll probably be 1 or 2 regular lines released every so often. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the feminized lines will be always available and probably making new things quite often. So yeah, the feminized is definitely the future, but I'm still going to be working with regular males.
Yeah, and I'm glad that most breeders will never stop doing the regs for people that do like to grow regs. I mean, I do enjoy it. One day when I have a bigger tent and when I can do it, I enjoy it. I mean, I I've seen some great yields off of regs, just as much as some of my fems that I've grown now. But the regs are just incredible. And like I said, if you want to, like now I know how to be able to save some pollen for doing some. I'm trying to learn how to just do some of my own breeding, not for sale, just for fun. Like I just did one, and I think being able to still learn how to pollen chuck and for myself to be able to get a bunch of seeds to save and give away to friends and family and to use for later on, I think it's good. We appreciate that as being a home grower. And also though the feminized, where it's quick and easy, where I don't have to think. I can germ, plant, take care of the plant the way I normally take care of it, and then not have to think. I can plant. I tried it. I did one feminized plant, just to see, instead of doing like, I could have probably put 3 or 2 or 3 in the tent, but I just want to just do one and see what kind of yield I got off of one. Taking care of one plant was pretty, just to test it for people that wanted to know. It was very simple to do one plant. For anybody out there thinking they can't do this, you can. And if you just get one plant going and taking care of one plant, I just wanted to prove a point that I got 3 ounces off of one plant, and it was great. And it was easy. It was also a little hard. It was tricky because I was using organic soil, and it's a little bit tougher using just straight organic than using stuff that that has everything you need in it. So. So I had a growing phase when it comes to going to organics, and it's a little bit tougher for me. So the plant did great. Just the organic growing is tough for me because I have to go pot sizes up, and I have to do this and I have to do that. So, but using feminized is cool, and I'm glad a lot of breeders are moving to that for the home growers, so then they don't have to think. That makes sense?
Yeah, like time, space, like. This is why feminized is so popular. A lot of my friends go feminized just because they don't have like a veg room and a flower room and all of this space. They just want to put some seeds down, veg them up, flower them, crop them, and do the same again.
Yeah, and we just want to. The home growers. I'm not looking to grow the greatest weed ever. I'm not looking to grow I'm looking to grow good, solid bud, so I can enjoy them with myself, my wife, my friends and family, give some away to some people, and it's just good, solid weed. And that's gonna take us home growers growing well and learning how to do it well, but also getting good genetics from the breeders who we trust.
That's where it starts.
Yeah, no, that's it. And like my friends, they don't want to grow like clones where it's the same thing every time. So they like to have like a variation, pop a few
Spice of life.
Yeah.
Spice of life. Variety's a spice of life. I like trying all. I have not yet grown the same strain twice, and nice. I just keep on going. I just keep on growing new stuff. And I have plenty of some of the seeds and beans that I've gotten, and I have like 6 left or 5 left, and I'll come back to it again. But I like growing new stuff and trying new stuff, especially.
I'm the opposite. I have to take a clone. Yeah, just in case it's something special, and I don't want to lose it.
You got to top it anyway. You might as well clone it.
Yeah, and that's the thing for me. I don't have something where I can keep the clone and stuff like that. I have one small tent, and I tried to clone the yeet that I just grew, and because I didn't have the tent that it grew buds.
So is it legal where you are?
Yes, I live in Illinois, and if you have a med card, you can grow 5 plants.
So why aren't you growing 5 plants?
I can. I grew 2 outside, 3 outside, and I grew the 1 inside. So, I mean, I can grow 5 plants. I just don't have the tent space for it. I don't have the room in my house for it. So I usually grow 2 or 3 in that tent. I can fit them pretty good. And if it's, I mean, I can only grow a certain amount of period here in Illinois. From November till March, it sucks. So I probably get 4 grows in the house a year. Okay. And then outside I throw, and I don't think anybody's counting, so I could probably put 5 outside.
Could you do 5 humongous plants with 5 lights?
Yeah, if I had the room. I grew the Majin Fujita, remember that, Earl? And I overgrew my tent.
It was a monster.
I couldn't. I mean, it was all over the fucking place. I had 3. I got 3 females out of the 5 I planted. So I was like, and it was wintertime, and these just like I couldn't. I overgrew the lights. Like they were the top of the fucking tent. So
And is it the
Earl's
same
like,
for
you know,
you, Earl? You can grow 5 plants as well.
Me?
Yeah.
I am in Michigan, so here anybody over 21 can grow 12. You can get a med card to grow 12 also. So if you have a med card and you have an address, as long as they're addressed separately and labeled separately, you can technically have 24. But that wouldn't double per, because it's only 12 per address on the non-medical side. But they allow caregivers here, so I have 5 patients. I can have 5 patients, and my wife can too if she wanted.
So again, so you could grow 12 plants, and you could have as much lighting over those 12 plants as you want.
We can grow 72 here if we have our 5 patients.
Right. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Which I think every state and every country should allow the caregiver program. 100%.
Here's the catch.
It's amazing.
You cannot make money off of it. You can pay your bills. You don't have to lose money.
That's like my friend. He lives in Michigan.
Yep, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So if you grow 72, that's awesome, but they force you, like, there's no point to it. The only reason I get even close to that is because I do all the breeding stuff. So I'll be hunting, I want to do a bigger hunt than, just 12 or 24 plants. But my flower room is not very big. Like it's I stay within all my shit here, but it's enough. It's enough for me to fucking do what I want to do and have fun.
Yeah, and you have dispensaries there?
Yes, Illinois and Michigan have dispensaries and cultivators,
but not on our side of the law.
Yeah, but you can't get a license to sell to the dispensaries.
Yeah, not as a caregiver here.
No. It used to be, Earl.
Back
in the day.
Yeah, when dispensaries first opened up, caregivers could sell to dispensaries. But then they took that away as soon as they had some licensed gardens.
Which is bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Completely built it. And then take that's, I'm not going to say that's okay, but at the end of the day, when you make things legal and it goes to that sector, it's business. Like it was something that was medicine and it sucks that it has to be illegal while it's like that. And now it's business. So it's nice to not have to look at it that way.
It's good that you can grow your own weed and you can provide weed to people.
Yeah. That is it right there.
Yeah. This is it.
Which I mean, like I said earlier, every country should, in every state and every country should be able to allow home grow. I mean, it's a plant. The caregiver program can help people make money. I don't know if it'd be a lot of money, but make a good living, where you can have 10, 15. And I've said this before on the show before, where you can have 25, 30, 40 patients and you can make a really good living, and besides your breeding programs and projects you do too, you can make a really good living at. And I think it's just unfortunate that it's just becoming so heavily corporatized, and it's how much money you have to spend on the license to get cultivation on top of the license cost per state. You also got to spend about anywhere between 10 to 20, 30, $40 million to get the cultivation opening, depending on what size you want to build. Then you have the dispensary side of things too, which cost a license, cost a building, real estate. Then you got to build it out. That's anywhere between 5 to 10 million, maybe more, depending on how big you're building. And then you got to hire employees and stuff like that. Instead of giving people a true chance to have a small business to be able to grow for patients, which I still think home grow, and just like the craft beer business too, where home brewing is and home grow is still, if not better, fresher. You know where it's coming from, you know what's going in it, and you can show people where you come to your house and lay it out for them. This is what I got for you this time around as a patient. Here's the 5 strains I grew. Here's how much do you want? You still follow the laws of how much you could sell per ounce per patient, but it gives the people an opportunity to find somebody they actually can trust and know.
Yeah, that's why something like that in Spain.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that country there would you guys would kill it, kill it out there doing something like that. And that's where it comes to the voice, where who we put into office and who we vote for and who is for this. And it comes to your state, local jurisdiction and to the federal level. It's still not federally legal here. So I tell people all the time, we're still all in the traditional market because it's still the government can come and shut down anything they want. So we're still all in the traditional market until it goes federally legal here in the States. And that's across the globe, period. Why can't we grow this plant and do what most people do? Little small farmers markets. You could sell at farmers markets, which they're going to be doing in New York because they can't get fucking dispensaries open up fast enough. They're wasting weed. And people don't realize when you're wasting all this weed and all this stuff that you could be selling across, like here, Missouri, give you a perfect example, Trichome, here in the States. You can't cross state lines. Okay, because it's still federally illegal. So California, that has an abundance of cannabis right now, or Canada, even though it's a different country, destroyed 3.5 billion grams of weed last year. And you have these countries and states that have an abundance of weed, but then you have a state like Missouri that just went legal, right? 200 dispensaries flipped from medical to rec. They're short on weed right now, like so short on weed, and you can on flower. Everything else they got plenty of, except for what people want, and that's flour. Flour still reigns king here in the States versus everything else. And what you could do is take some from California, have it shipped by truck, make sure it's all good to go legal-wise, and ship it here to a central distribution point in Missouri, and then they could spread it out to all the dispensaries that are short. Then people in California won't be fucking having all this abundance of weed they got to destroy, and then it goes to people that need it. That's what's fucked up.
Yeah. No, definitely.
You know, so those growers out there that are dying right now that were at one time making good money, now there's so much competition, so much of this, so much of that. Prices have dropped. They can recoup at least what they got out to survive, because there's so many now companies in California that have been doing it for so long, and then all of a sudden they're short, and now they might not survive this next round, and might not be able to make it to do another grow because they're out of business. I don't know. It's just fucked up. That's So anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about the Van Creations and how great your jewelry is. And we were DMing back and forth earlier. You said you were working on some new stuff, but Big Earl saw a mammoth tusk piece. Tell us about that.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm just working on a piece at the moment. It's a toad carved from mammoth tusk, which has come from Siberia. So that's been in that snow, in that ice for the last 10,000 years.
Wow.
So yeah, I like using rare or quite different materials, unusual things. Yeah, even the woods I use, I try and use woods that are slightly different than your normal type woods as well.
A mammoth tusk is definitely fucking different. Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, if you want to share, how did you get that piece?
That is a guy from Germany, and he tends to have a lot of like mammoth tusk. So I get that from him, and he gets that from Siberia.
And how was it different working with is it ivory, I guess?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Basically, it's ivory, yeah.
Okay, so working with wood, working with ivory, how did you feel about working with it? Was this your first ivory piece you worked with?
No, I've worked with it quite a few times, and it's a really nice material to use. I can see why a lot of people did use it in the past, like actual ivory and stuff like that, because you can get a lot of detail in it. You can get a really nice finish to the piece as well. And just carving it in general is just a quite enjoyable experience. Yeah.
Now, between wood and ivory, when you're doing it with wood, you're probably using just like steel tools. But ivory, do you use the same thing, or do you have to use some kind of like drill diamond pieces, because it is a little bit more?
Same tools as I would use for the wood carving, but they are like very small jewelers type cutters. So they would be used for metal and things like that as well. I do have like more diamond tips, but that's more for like really stone. I might use it to cut a section out of the, if I'm cutting like a hole into the ivory, I might use a diamond bit to do the hole. but normally just normal woodcutters or metal.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's it.
Are you thinking about doing? I think we talked on the last show. You're thinking about doing any more pieces where you're going to put your seeds in there to sell? Like I think we talked. Didn't we talk about that? Where you like did like a what was that, Earl?
Rocks, yeah, like a quartz.
Yeah,
quartz.
Yeah, I've done a few different things. I did some like clay ones and some crystal ones. I might make something again in the future, but yeah, at the moment I'm just concentrating more on the jewelry side of things.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Those were cool. I wish I would have did all the time. I'm like, man, I should have bought one of those. Those are cool. They were cool. They're super cool seed packs. I've talked about them probably a few times already.
Which ones? The ones with the crystals?
Yeah, I mean, you've had a lot of really cool ones. Even your packaging beyond that, like I have a cool pouch that some of them came in, and like cool little wooden tags and shit.
Yeah, I got my Mr. Kobo again. He did some laser tags for me. He even did some like hand ones, all by hand. So yeah, I always do like little limited things, and I did some hemp bags as well, made from hemp that the seeds went in. Yeah. But the crystal ones, I've still got some crystal packaging here. I think there's like 2 strains. I think the tropical soul in the crystal packaging. I've still got a couple left. I'll put them in the package. Just put a package together for you guys anyway, so I'll put a few extra bits in it.
Hell yeah! Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. What do you got new on? Like anything like with the anything creating? Like I know you do. I love your frog work. I mean, it's amazing. Do you have anything other than like newish coming out that you're going to be doing?
Yeah, I'm working on some like little eggs, like a little bit like I've always liked the sort of like Fabergé sort of eggs and how they did like mad designs, and so making these little mini eggs. They also everything else sort of like has a little secret compartment inside, even the toads and that. And there's like a little bit that pushes in with a key and then opens up the little secret compartment.
That's
so
dope.
I'm doing a little set of eggs. They're going to be in mammoth tusk as well, and like a mix of metals. I like to use sort of like gold and things like this, silver as well. But yeah, even a little bit of copper. Just like a mix of metals. But this one, the toad I'm working on now, is going to be like going to have some amethyst in there as well. So I like to use some like gemstones and things like this as well. Yeah.
Sweet, cool, man. We appreciate you coming back on again. Plug away, man. Tell everybody where they can find you at. Both the Divine Creations and Trichome Jungle and websites. Anything you got out there, man. People can find you at. It's been great to have you on.
My Instagram pages, Trichome Jungle Seeds and Divine Creations. But yeah, that's where I post most of the time, and anybody that wants to look into any of my things, yeah, message me on there.
And what are you going to be posting soon on the what you got coming out?
Yeah, the new thing's going to be the Rainbow Cherry. So
Rainbow Cherry.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that. That's the Skittles Cross, and that's going to be super limited just because of the amount of seeds. It was only a small plant that I pollinated. So little limited drop of some fire, hopefully. Yeah, looking forward to the test results.
Hell yeah. And then when is that? I don't know if I heard or not. I'm pretty stoned now. That fucking bud got me ripped. When is it coming out? When should we expect it?
Literally a couple of months from now. So we're talking like hopefully for November, but maybe like November, December, depending on the testing.
Sweet. All right, everybody out there, get to looking and keep an eye on Trichome Jungle's new creation coming out soon, and make sure you go on Divine Creations and take a look at all of his jewelry and all the stuff he makes out there. It's pretty dope if you haven't seen it yet. And man, we appreciate you, Trichome Jungle, man, coming on the show again for Burpin the Bag. You got anything else to say before we head out?
No, enjoyed coming on again. Yeah, it's always good chatting with you guys.
Appreciate it. Big Girl, you got anything else to say?
No, I appreciate you, Trichome. I'm excited to talk again and go through these orange souls and some more stuff. And thank you again. And guys, I guess we didn't get into it a lot, but the Cal Mag, we can't forget that too. I know Trichome knows about the Cal Mag tricks. Cal Mag.
Everybody out there, don't forget the fucking cow mag. Peace. Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.